Hey guys, and welcome back to Gregtech, New Horizons. So we done a little bit more refining on our fuel system over here last episode. We moved over a pyrolyzed oven and also another distillation tower for wood vinegar. We also set up some passive fluid processes for things like oxygen, nitrogen and hydrogen. You see these three ingots right here, titanium, stainless steel, aluminium. We have nowhere near enough of those ingots in order to do the upgrades we would like to do to this base, such as expand our AE system. So today I thought it's time we get serious about our blast furnaces. Neg. Wait, there's a chicken around here? Wait, where is that guy? Oh, there you are. You've been making a mess out the front, haven't you? Yeah, it's time to start moving our blast furnaces, vacuum freezers, and I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do with these processes here for things like titanium. Either we move them next to the blast furnaces and have the processing on site like what we have here, or we may move these elsewhere and then just send the outputs via Applied Energistics. I think also this nuclear reactor is going to be moved as well, which is going to be extremely painful. Look how slow we break these blocks. Oh boy, we're going to be here for a while. Yeah, let me do some planning. I still am yet to decide exactly where this is going to be placed in the base, but we've got a lot more moving ahead of us, so yeah, let's not waste any more time here. Alright, so we got our 3 blast furnaces moved over, including the vacuum freezer. We still need to set up the IOs for these things, but we're going to be changing things up slightly. As for the power situation, we also have our nuclear reactor here as well, connected to our same main battery buffer here, and is also hooked up to the same redstone logic so that it turns on at the same time as the combustion engine whenever our batteries are low. So I decided against wall sharing these things since we can't put any ports on the top. I believe all that can go on top is the muffler hatch. And if you wall share, that gives you less space in the bottom for the IO ports, like the input and output hatches. And we need to handle items and fluids for basically all of these blast furnaces. One other change I made over here to our main power backbone is I've actually transformed this up to IV power. So coming off the battery buffer there, we have an EV transformer to transform up. This is all platinum cable actually. This power setup down here will be in a constant state of change as we progress through the tiers and produce more power. But for now we have the extreme transformer to transform this down to EV, which goes to all of our multi-blocks. And again it gets transferred to EV right here and then down to our passive processing area. I've also moved our energy acceptor for AE over here, so we no longer rely on cetane to power our AE system, it's all coming off of our main power network. I had to also add this energy cell here just to keep this thing powered. I was finding that the network was blinking without it, so yeah, that seems to have fixed the problem. But yeah, next steps for this blast furnace setup is we want to upgrade the energy hatches on these things. Right now I think everything is running at HV, and I think we want at least everything running at EV. So I'm going to make up a handful of EV energy hatches, and then we're going to hook these up with Applied Energistics, I think is the plan. On second thought, we actually will wall share our blast furnaces here, but we're not going to go for the full line. We'll just do 2 at a time. And I've moved the vacuum freezer over to the other side, which is not the most ideal location, but it's going to stay here for a while. Anyways, we now got the EV energy hatches on these things. And instead of transforming from IV here, I think we'll move the transformer further down. Platinum cable, right? Yep. Still need to color code these things. We'll do that in a second, actually. I do want to do that this episode. Just make sure we don't connect to this aluminium cable. Okay, so yeah, we're going to transform right underneath the blast furnaces here. And we have this other 9-slot battery buffer, which used to be on the output of our reactor. But now that we're combining these things, we can reuse these as part of our blast furnace setup actually. Just to give us another little extra buffer here. As obviously if we run out of energy on the blast furnaces, then the recipes will void. Although instead of the 9-slot version, we're going to disassemble this. Oh, we can't disassemble this, yeah, this is only an HV disassembler. And this is an EV machine, yeah. I see you over there, Creeper. I think he's another infernal guy. This place is very, very unsafe, especially after removing some of the blocks from here. So I think in that case, we're just going to craft some new battery buffers here. The 4-slot versions though this time. And I believe we do have some spare Lapidron crystals that we can use. Should be in here. So from the output of the transformer, we go into the battery buffer. Just double check this is all EV power. Yep. Oh, ho, ho, actually that was close. I'm glad I never plugged this in yet. This is only an HV transformer, and this is IV power right here, so we would have had an explosion on our hands there. Yeah, let me grab an EV transformer for here. This is the transformer we want. 8192 in and 24A out. Perfect time for a backup there as well. Now we plug in the platinum cable. And now we can just run power to both of the energy hatches on the blast furnace. Okay, energy hatches are filling up. Next is the I/O for both of these blast furnaces. And as I mentioned, we're going to be using Applied Energistics this time. And it's going to look something like this. So we have one for oxygen, one for hydrogen, and one for nitrogen. The energy setup is almost exactly the same as what we had, with the battery buffers on each blast furnace. Except now we move some of the ports around. We actually share an output bus between both of the blast furnaces. That is extracted on blue and back into our ME interface, which will go back into the storage drawers. Things like aluminium and stainless steel, since we have on a drawer here, which is also on the highest priority. Let's see if we can see this. Yeah, since we have these storage buses on higher priority than the drives, it will prioritize sending the ingots here, even if we send it into the ME interface. And other than that, we also have the fluid inputs for these, which is the 2 blue ports on the bottom sides. And we're just using our same fluid P2P channel that we have over there and over here, where we're making oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen. And that is just filtered on the conduits here. So yeah, overall, pretty simple blast furnace setup actually, and it's very easy to scale as well. We can just keep adding blast furnaces. I know that later on, we do get some sort of multi-block for the blast furnace as well. Is it this thing, the mega blast furnace? Oh, check out the amount of pollution that thing gives. 10,000, what is it? No, 102,000 pollution per second. Yikes. Anyway, that's a project for another day. For now, we keep using these blast furnaces, and probably for a while we keep using these blast furnaces. As for the vacuum freezer here, well, we have a slightly different setup on this one. We don't have a battery buffer on this. I don't think it's going to be necessary, but we'll keep an eye on things. The output on the right hand side is exactly the same. This is the output bus going into our ME interface. Hide this from the terminal. And the input for this we have actually automated. But yeah, for the vacuum freezer we have this type filter, which I think may have to be rotated like this. Basically with the type filter you can set this to ingot hot, which will filter any sort of hot ingot. And because we have Applied Energistics storage bus on the bottom, this is on the highest priority on our network, so it will try to send every item in here. But of course the type filter can only allow the hot ingots, which is then input to the vacuum freezer, frozen, and then sent back into our AE system. So we haven't tested this yet. It should work in theory though. Let me get some dust so that we can test this. Ah, titanium. I knew I left some of this over here. Okay, so we want, I think, circuit 11 for all of these, right? Since we want to use the fluids. And titanium needs nitrogen. For now, we're just going to put some chests in batchcraft with this manually. Since we don't really have the input dusts automated, we don't really have an ore processing system or our titanium tetrachloride set up anymore. Which I think I'm going to move over actually after this. Anyways, give it a tap with the hammer. And it doesn't work. Yeah, titanium dust, nitrogen, circuit 11. Maybe this circuit has to be in the input bus. Oh yeah, that's exactly what it is, yeah. So now we should see it go into this vacuum freezer. That is what we're hoping. 90 seconds. Let's make sure these ones work as well. We have some energetic alloy, which I think is just an oxygen. Oh no, this is hydrogen. Alright, the titanium finished. Is it in here? Yes, it is. Awesome. And it automatically started. Goes to the output bus, sends to our interface, and we should have one more titanium. Nice. Okay, so this should make batch crafting with EBFs much easier. We just need to be careful a little bit with the energy situation, but I mean, we should be okay. So, since the main thing we're after is actually titanium, hello guys. Oh, he got me. Since the main thing we're after is titanium, we need to set up our rutile processing again. And it wouldn't actually hurt to have this scheelite processing as well. We're kind of getting a bit low on tungsten. So yeah, I'm going to move over these things. We've already seen the setup of this before. We'll probably end up putting them next to where we produce the oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen. But that's going to take me a little time to set up, so I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I got some things moved over here, and I decided to change up the layout of some things. So the water electrolysis is now over here, and same with the nitrogen production. Just so that we could keep all the LV machines together, and we have the higher tier machines. These are HV, I think, and we have a couple of new MV additions here. So the idea when we're moving everything is we definitely want to integrate it into Applied Energistics. We used to be doing this recipe here with carbon dust in the old base, but I've actually switched it out to using carbon cells instead, which means that we need a canning machine. We just put in empty cells here and this will can the carbon. When you use this recipe, we also get carbon monoxide, which we then electrolyze for half of the carbon back, plus some extra oxygen, which is a nice byproduct. So the electrolyzer is here, oxygen goes in here with the overflow valve on top. I don't want this tank to fill with oxygen and therefore stop our rutile processing. And then tetrachloride ends up in this fluid tank, which is then going to be actually sent back into the P2P, the fluid P2P, and then we'll somehow have to integrate that into one of those blast furnaces over there. We'll probably actually add a new one specifically for this. So right now we just have the super tank full of chlorine, but chlorine production will be moved elsewhere, and that's just going to be handled with the fluid P2P down there. There is also an interface here. We do have to supply some carbon as we only get half back, but half is better than none, so we're also pulling the magnesium chloride, which will get out the output of the blast furnace, and any rutile that ends up in our system. So we can actually just throw in any rutile into our AE system, it will end up in this drawer and then be pulled into the chemical reactor to be processed. The other process I mentioned I was going to do today was tungsten, but actually I think we're going to hold off on that. I would like to do scheelite and tungsten, but there's a couple more steps in here that is a bit more complex than what I first thought, and these are mostly EV machines, which we can't really craft right now, so I think we should prioritize getting easier machines first before we do that. Like I mentioned, the main thing is titanium. Although, that being said, if we're going to add another blast furnace, we may as well use the upgraded coils, right? There's not really much point in going nichrome again. So the next upgrade to nichrome is tungsten steel. Maybe we will be setting up tungsten again. Hold on, how much tungsten do we have? We have 103 here, plus some fluid pipe. Oh, I think we got these from quest rewards actually. I'm sure we can arc furnace these down. It's 2 stacks that you need, right? We may just be in luck. It depends how much these large pipes give us. I think it gives us all 6 back though. Oh, we're definitely going to have enough for this. Nice. Let's see, we do also need some molten nichrome for this, which we may or may not have. I do know that because we're now sharing blast furnaces, we do have 6 spare nichrome coils that we can use. And I'm sure we can recycle these as well. Oh nice, it also gives us our canthal back. Awesome. Oh, but we don't have the LV circuits. Yeah, we're like completely out of LV circuits. We should have plenty of Invar though for the casings. I do remember making, yeah, almost 600 Invar. We're good for that. The rest we should have. I even think we have a spare muffler hatch. Yeah. Alright, let me grab the materials. It's just all the usual, the input bus, the output bus, maintenance hatch, I'm probably forgetting something. Energy hatch, which I made extra of actually earlier on. Oh, and inventory space. We need inventory space. I left this here as well. Let's not leave chests around. That's a very, very bad habit to get into. Let's clean it up now. So I actually found some tungsten trioxide, which we mix with steel to give us tungsten steel. This combined with what we had before should actually be enough for the double set of coils. So long as we have enough mica for this, of course. I think we actually can get 2 of these things in the end. 125 seconds per ingot though, but still. Behold our 26 tungsten steel coil blocks. By far the best looking coils, at least that we have access to at the moment. There's a few later down the line that look quite interesting, like these HSS ones. Definitely different to Community Edition and what we had in Omnifactory and things, but tungsten steel is definitely one of the best looking, don't you think? Anyways, enough talk, let's get this one switched out, and I also actually added in this, what is this, 5th blast furnace here? The intention with the extra one is actually for rutile processing. And we'll recycle these coil blocks since we have the full 16. The only thing with this is, I mean, we have it set up pretty much exactly the same way. The only thing is we're out of channels here, which is a big problem, and this is going to be our next project for today actually. So wait, actually hold on, what am I doing? Let's install these coils first. Ah, perfect. Oh, and we need some maintenance on this one. So the coil upgrade will obviously allow us to smelt higher tier materials. I think the main one being HSSS. No, HSSG is first. But we do get the energy discount and EU discount on these ones as well. So in fact, maybe we make this one oxygen as well, and we'll prioritize using this over the nichrome coils. Yeah, I like that idea. Let's add oxygen into this input hatch. This one here should really be moved over a block, since we're now wall sharing this one. We'll wait till this is done though. But yes, back to what we were saying about Applied Energistics. So you may have noticed there that I did start processing a bunch of bauxite, which of course is used for titanium, and titanium is used for the ME controller. Along with HV circuits, which we don't have yet, so I'll have to craft some more of these things. Hopefully soon we can get into epoxy production and get into some cheaper HV circuits, which we may look into next episode actually. But first we should really fix the AE system. We only have one face left for more P2Ps on this thing, so ideally we want to go for at least 8 more ME controllers around this, and that will give us way more than enough channels that we can use at the moment. So yeah, I guess I got more crafting to do. It just don't stop. I'm having so much fun with this new base though, things are starting to come together. Let's see, is there anything else we'll need though other than the ME controllers? I think we should be fine on most things, to be honest. P2Ps don't really require that much titanium, it's just one plate. The flux dust though is going to take a while on the autoclave. Oh yeah, let's shift this input hatch here. So I've been doing some crafting, preparing to upgrade our ME controllers. Making up some more of this super expensive dense cable here. Just before we get into that though, I would like to go back to something I mentioned earlier on. So we're going to need some salt for this. Also some sulfuric acid, which... oh yeah, we have loads and loads of sulfuric acid here. And we'll have to also make some dye. I would quite like to make sense of some of these cables down here by dyeing them specific colours depending on their energy tier. Just so that we avoid explosions. So I made up some of these empty spray cans. We have to actually fill these with dye. I mean, we can easily do blue dye. This is just going to be some soda light with salt. Did I just completely misread the recipe? Oh, it's because we have hydrogen sulfide in here, that's why. Yeah, now it crafts. Okay. And how much do we need per spray can? 2,000? That seems like a lot of dye. I hope these things last for a while. The red is going to be absolutely no problem. You remember our friend from the start of the episode? Well, this is the mess he made out here. We can also get yellow quite easily. And I guess orange as well by combining these two together. Let's see, what other colours do we have? Allium? I'm sure this gives us a dye as well. Don't know if 7 will be enough though. Ah, I remember we have bone meal here and also grey dye. Alright, we got the blue spray can and grey. Both of these say remaining use is 0. Do we have to process this further? Surely not, right? I guess we'll find out, but there's also the pink one. We should have more of our bauxite processed by now. We keep putting this through the thermal centrifuge. It's not going to be long before we have everything like this automated though. We're getting really close to being able to do this. Alright, so how do we want to do this? I think we're going to do ivy as white. How many uses we got? 500? Oh man, that's not very much, is it? I mean, obviously we have way less than 500 cable, but... I was expecting a bit more, to be honest. I could be wrong about this, but I believe this also works on machines. Can you dye machines, or is that only a community edition thing? Oh man, we got a lot of platinum cable. EV I think we do as pink, since the material we use for EV is titanium. Makes some sense at least. HV cable I think we do as blue, which you could argue could be MV since we use aluminium. But I think MV we do as orange. Yeah. There's something very satisfying about doing this. Things are starting to look pretty funky down here as well. Although I think now we managed to hit every single piece of cable. I do like that orange on the MV stuff. I'm a fan of the orange. And the white actually. I think the white looks quite cool. But let's now get back to fixing the Applied Energistics System. So we have some more dense cable. I made up some more controllers. And I also shifted them over a bit. So I don't know if you'll remember, before we had this kind of offset, but because eventually we'll have more than one cable joining the main network to the sub-network, it's going to make a lot of messy wiring right here, so I wanted to avoid that and we just keep them in the straight line. So the way we're going to do this for now is we'll just place our P2Ps on this controller. So that is 8 P2Ps, the maximum we can handle with one smart cable. Wait, can we copy the memory card frequencies? I don't really want to clear these things since we already have them set on the other side. Yeah, we got them all copied over. Means that we can tear out all of this. So we'll have to provide this controller with power as well. We can do that with the use of a quartz fiber right in the middle here, so that it only transfers power and not the channels through the cable. Should see this one light up, yep. So it's basically the same setup as we had before, except now we have more space for P2P channels. And remember, each P2P can handle 32 channels on the other side when we uncompress. And we can even go like this as well and put more P2Ps. And even stack more controllers on top of this as well. I think it goes infinitely. I don't know if the ME controller has a limit, to be honest, but there's no way we're going to use that many channels. I mean, our base is going to get pretty big, but yeah. And I'm actually not sure, do these things actually still consume power? Even though they're plugged in but offline? Like, we only have 4 of these things connected right now. The other ones are online but unlinked. We're currently using 222 EU per tick, and it says we have the 7 P2P tunnels. Yeah, I guess they are draining power. Yeah, we should probably disconnect these if we're not using them. So yeah, now that we added more capability for more channels, we should probably move this P2P. And instead of making the connection right here, we instead bring it over a couple of blocks, and we'll split off one that goes over to our passive processing area, one over for the multi-blocks. I think we'll also add one here which goes to the blast furnaces specifically, since we do use quite a lot of channels over there. And in fact, later on we may even add like 2 more here. It's just that dense cable is so expensive for us at the moment. I mean, it's very easy to shuffle this around now that we have expanded capability. Okay, I spent some time here to hook things up. I think maybe because I moved the original place of the controller, things got a little bit messed up, so we had to re-link all the frequencies we already had. But this one should be the last one we have to connect. Successfully linked, but we're missing a channel here. Oh no, it just took a while. There we go, yeah. Device online, cool. That also means that we should be able to hook up our last blast furnace over here. Should just be a matter of plugging in this cable. And in fact, I already filtered the tetrachloride in here, which should appear any second now. As soon as these things become online... Uh-oh. The P2P channel isn't linked. Oh, can we not do this through subnets? I'm gonna be so sad if we can't do it. Please tell me I just missed this one at the end. Oh good, I just didn't plug that in, hold on. Oh, I really hope this works. And since we don't have enough faces on the controller or P2Ps yet, and it's kind of a waste to do one P2P for, what, 5 devices here? We're going to remove this one and just plug it straight into the sides of the controllers here. There, that should turn our terminals back on, and we can reuse the P2P that the terminals used to be on for this one over here, which contains the input of our fluid P2P. So now we should see at the blast furnaces that this thing turns on. Please tell me that's the case. We've got a lot of rewiring if this doesn't work. Oh, device online. Nice. Are we getting tetrachloride? I think maybe I just forgot to set the output on this thing. Yeah, this tank has to be extract on brown. Oh yeah, I did also kind of spruce this place up a little bit. I think it looks not too bad. We have tetrachloride though. That is awesome. Okay. I think we still might be missing a circuit though. Okay, we performed some maintenance. Now do you work? Oh yeah. We're getting titanium again. And it's the fast recipe as well. This one's only the 40-second recipe. Well, technically 20 with the setup we have here. Alright, well, I would call that mission successful. We shuffled around some of our processes over here for fluids. Looks like the magnesium chloride is getting reprocessed exactly as we want it. We upgraded the coils in our blast furnaces and moved them from our old base. We moved over our nuclear reactor. This took so long to do that. Oh man, the breaking of those blocks. And we added functionality for our Applied Energistics System, which still needs some work, but this should see us for another couple of episodes at least. But I think the plan for next episode is going to be to look into epoxy. To be honest though, a lot of the things we already have. This is going to be a bit more chemistry, but we've seen acetone before. We're making acetone, no, we're not making hydrochloric acid. We need to make this, we need to make phenol, we need to make bisphenol. But honestly, it's nothing complicated. It's just a few more large chemical reactors. And in fact, I may do a bit of this between episodes as well. But I think we're going to wrap things up here. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all soon for some more Gregtech New Horizons.